Distant cousin or first cousin of the twins.
We met in college.
Oh, you met in college.
Yeah, but I'm kind of like an adopted child of their family.
She's an adopted distant cousin. And she had the experience that's, you've all probably seen the film Three Coins in the Fountain, and that is the best advertisement for Rome and its beauties that you'll ever see. In any case, she threw 3 coins in the fountain, and that led her to her husband. And it's a very interesting story that she turned into a book, which is something that we all like to do. And since our motto is, what's our motto?
Save our stories.
Saving our stories. Okay, so she really saved her story. And it's a great one. It's one that's uplifting to everyone who hears it. Without further ado, maybe with an intro from something she said to CNN, we have Catherine.
Thank you. Thank you, Dominic. Well, I appreciate that. When we get that going, I'll just introduce myself. My name's Catherine Tondelli, Italo-Americano. So my brother who's here today is one of my 10 brothers and sisters. So my father was Italian. From the area of Piemonte, so Ivrea near Torino, if you know where that is. I'm sure all of you know that. My mother was Irish, so good Irish-Italian Catholic family. A lot of children. We grew up in Chicago. Oak Park is kind of our home base. And my father was a jazz pianist, musician, fisarmonica, also accordion player. My mother was a school teacher, math. And they decided to have all these children. I'm number 9. I am a twin like the 2 Orlando twins. And we met in college at a voice and diction class. And I looked at them and I saw their last name, Italians, they're twins. I'm a twin. I have a twin sister who's number 10. So my mother had already had 8. Then she found out she was pregnant with 2 more. And she said, I just cried through the whole pregnancy because I can't have 2 more children. So she did, and then she had 10 children in 10 years. Philip is number 5. So there were 3 boys, and then a girl, and then came Philip. And all of us got very, Italian names, more or less. So the little brother, my fratellino, he came 5 years later, and his name is Reno, which is my father's name. Reno Dominic, like Dominic.
Okay, that's me.
So good name. And basically we grew up, in a crazy house because, with 11 kids running around, it was not a calm house. Let's just say that. But we survived. We all helped each other. Phil was kind of the first child that went to college, that got, kind of set an example for the rest of us. We were the younger ones, so he was our role model, kind of with the family. And it really was. We learned from each other. So it was, my nonna came over from Italy with my nonno, and so we learned how to make gnocchi and ravioli, and so I've always felt very Italian. And my name was always difficult to pronounce. We're like, everyone was Smith, Peterson. I was like Tondelli, yes, Tondelli. So when I moved to Italy, and the name was everybody, Tondelli. It was like, yeah, I know how to spell it. So that was like my favorite thing about moving to Italy. Anyway, we moved from Oak Park, then we went to Texas, and then we kind of, as we grew, and we all sort of started going to different places. My brother Phil lives in Elmwood Park, so not too far. He stayed in Chicago. I moved to San Diego, and then I won this amazing President's Club trip. I was working for a publishing company, and the prize was a trip for 2 to Venice, Italy. All expense paid, first class tickets. We stayed at the Hotel Tondelli, if you know where that is in Venice. I mean, it couldn't have been more of a dream trip. And who did I want to take as my date? I took my mother, because she and my father during this whole time got divorced. He ended up with he had 2 more children. So I actually have a stepbrother and a stepsister. So there are 13 of us. And I thought, who more deserved this trip than my mother? And I had just got out of a relationship that was, not the greatest. And I thought, my mother said, I always wanted to go to Italy. Your father promised me he was going to take me to Italy. And I go, Mom, we're going to Italy. So we went to Venice. We had this amazing trip on the gondolas. And then she said, I can't die until I've seen Rome. And I said, well, I've been there once. So she goes, when I see Rome, I can die. I said, okay, we're going to Rome. So we went to Florence, we stayed there, and then we ended up in Rome. And the first night we were going to go to the Trevi Fountain the next day. And my mom said, well, it's a blue moon. It was Jubileo, which we are in right now. But this was 25 years ago. It was in April of 1999. And it was this fake day. I guess it was destiny, as my mother called them, GMC, so God manufactured coincidences. She decided, we're going to the Trevi Fountain tonight after dinner. It's going to be beautiful. And the restaurant was, oh, of course, it's beautiful. The moon is full. It's a blue moon, and it's completely pulita. It's very clean. So go tonight. So I said, okay. So we went down this little street. We see, and there's, of course, the Trevi Fountain, which is just like stunning, beautiful. So my mom goes in her purse and said, honey, you've taken me on this beautiful trip, and you know what? You deserve to have a special wish and somebody special to come in your life. And I'm going to give you these 3 coins to throw. So I said, okay. So I take the coins. Uno, due, tre. I throw the coins in the fountain. And who's standing next to me is now my husband. But his name was Fausto, right? So he said, if you want the wish to come true, you must throw with the left hand, not the right hand, because it's closer to your heart. And I was like, that was a great pickup line. I was like, this is like original, right? This guy he's worth like maybe giving a second look. So he ended up the left hand. I guess because it's supposed to be your whole, this part.
I put left shoulder. I didn't know the detail of the left.
It's the hand. This is the secret. Nobody knows. So when you go to Rome, make sure it's in the left hand, not the right hand. So I said, great. So I said, this worked that fast. Give me another 3 coins. So my mom was like, no, I think we should stop. So ended up
Were they American coins or
no, they were Italian. They were Italian coins. And I always said, well, what are you doing here? So I was going to collect all the coins. No, but he didn't. But he was working for Alitalia. His 2 friends were flight attendants, and they were meeting there. And so in the meantime, my mother's asking him, where should I buy my shoes? Where can we get a good gelato? And then my mother worked for American Airlines. So he was Alitalia, and the 2 of them just were like 2 peas in a pod. So I kind of let them go, and I was just like, maybe he likes older women. I'm gonna just let him go. So the 2 of them just hit it off like a house on fire, and they talking.
We have the quote, the audio quote.
Oh, here it is. Okay, so in the meantime, we were asked by CNN, they have a program called Chance Encounters. I don't know if anyone has seen it, but it's a chance encounter, how people meet each other on either vacation or travel. So a friend of mine in Paris wrote to them and said, I have a girlfriend that absolutely you have to interview. And they interviewed Fausto and I, and they actually put it on CNN. And here's the audio, just a little clip you can hear. Hopefully the sound and the voice of Fausto, who Phil knows very well.
Imagine you're standing in front of the famous Trevi Fountain in Rome, Italy. And you're about to toss 3 coins into the fountain and make a wish. You know that old tradition, right? After all, when in Rome.
The first coin you come back in Rome. The second coin you find your love in Rome. 1, 2, 3. The third coin, you marry Rome.
1, 2, 3. All of a sudden I heard this voice just saying, you know, if you want the wish to come true, you must throw with the left hand because it's closer to your heart.
Funny situation by the Trevi Fountain. I saw throwing the coin at the fountain like crazy. Continue to throw the coin at the fountain. It was $1 million.
No, that's not true.
Okay, say, well,
You know, there was like an immediate connection. I knew, they say, you know, colpo di fulmine in Italian, which is, you know, love at first sight. And I really believe that. I think I looked at him and was like, oh my God, this fountain works like it's magic.
I'm Francesca Street, CNN travel journalist, and this is Chance Encounters, a podcast about the incredible connections we make while traveling. This show is based on my series of online articles for CNN.com, where I interview ordinary people about their extraordinary travel-based love stories and tales of friendship. In this podcast series, we're chronicling the summer loves that turned out to be more than just a vacation romance. And since all roads lead to Rome, we're starting there today with Catherine Tondelli, who just threw 3 coins into the Trevi Fountain and made a wish.
Today we helped a
Latte for Sam?
coffee shop get an
Oh, they have
insurance quote
commercials.
simply and
In the
easily,
meantime, I'll
and
show
made
you.
sure a Florida
Here's my
delivery
mom
van
and I
was able
in
to make
Venice.
someone's day. We're the Hartford,
On our
with
gondola.
decades of experience ensuring
Before we got
millions
to
of unique
Rome.
small businesses.
This
When it
was
comes
the
to
night I
you,
met him, which we actually have a picture my mother took of us that night. And then there's a picture of my whole family in here, the 11 of us with my mother and father. So what happened was after the rendezvous with my mother for a half an hour, yeah, this is the picture of all of us, and we were living in Deerfield. So that's where I was actually born, and Phil was born. I think you were born in Deerfield. And the Deerfield Review was one of the newspapers at that time, and they were fascinated by the fact that this family had 11 children, Italian, American, family. And they came and took photos of us at Christmas time, and they put us on the cover of this magazine. And we, it's kind of crazy, but if you want to see it, you'll see how much of an insane house it was. If you think you have 1 or 2 children, times it by 5, and you have all these children. So, make a long story short, after we met each other, and my mother found out where to buy her shoes, where to get gelato, he said, well, I'd love to take you on a little tour of Rome. And she said, oh, my feet are hurting, and we've been walking all day. And he goes, no problem. I get in my car, I come back, I pick you up, and I take you on a Rome by night. And we were like, what is a Rome by night? And I don't even know if we should be getting in a car with this guy. We just met. And my mom said, nope, I know he's a decent, nice guy. And I was like, okay. So he goes, meet me at the corner. It was near Piazza Navona. And we walked there, and he showed up, and I'm waiting for him to show up in a motorcycle and going, oh my God, how are we going to get around with at that point, my mom was 70, she was like 79, okay? So it was getting on a Vespa at 79 would be very difficult. So he pulls up in a Audi 4-door car. My mother said, oh, he has a 4-door car. It was like, in Rome, that's a big deal. So we got in, and he drove right up to the Colosseum on the sidewalk, and my mother said, but Fausto, you can't drive on the sidewalk. He goes, this is my town. I can drive the car wherever I want to go. And he drove the car right up to the Colosseum, and then he told us the whole history. And then he would take us to the Forum, and then he did a whole Rome by night tour. And we were just entertained because he's very funny. He's a very entertaining guy. And so I was like, wow, he's pretty pretty funny guy, and he's not bad looking, and and I'm like, great, I finally meet somebody, and he lives in another country, because at that time I was in San Diego. So he dropped us at our hotel. He said, tomorrow night I want to take you both for dinner. And I thought, I've been with my mother now for almost 2 weeks. I was like, why not? It sounds like a good idea. So he came by, and my mom said, okay, so we'll see you at 6:30. And he said, oh, no, I pick you up at 9 o'clock. And my mother was like, I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. Because in Italy, as you all know, we don't eat till 9 o'clock. So I said, okay, let's do compromise. So we met at 7:30, and we went for dinner. We had this fabulous dinner. And then he took us for gelato, and we dropped us off, and he said goodbye. My mother was, hanging out the window, waving to him. And then we went and did a whole tour of the nightlife of Rome. And then that's when I was like, okay, I think I like this guy. I think this could maybe be another night, maybe, of dinner. So then the third night, he said, okay, tomorrow night I'm gonna pick you both up. He came, and my mother said, oh, I'm so tired. She was faking it. I'm tired, I wanna stay, because she realized at that point there was some connection. And so we went off on our own, and then we came back, and he goes, okay, well, when am I gonna see you again? I said, never. I mean, I live in California, and you live in Rome, and it's too far to do a long distance relationship. But he said, I work for the airline, so I think we can make this work. And I was like, okay. So I get home, and there's like 10 emails from him. And, when you are like eating my pasta without the parmigiana, and all of these, Rome, when it blaze with the petrol hits the fire, it's like an explosion. I mean, he was typical Italian, but it was very entertaining and funny. And we started this kind of every night talking to each other. And finally, after 2 weeks, he said, I'm going to send you a ticket, and I want you to come back out and see if this was just a thing that you were on vacation, or if it's something that could be more. And so I said, oh, they're never going to let me get off work. I already took 2 weeks. I'm going to get fired. I go, in America, we only get 2 weeks vacation. He goes, what the? I get 9 weeks in Italy. I go, well, that's why I need to move to Italy. So I left, took the plane, and my boss, Dan Hogan, who Phil knows was a friend of my brother's, said, I'll let you go, but if you don't come back in 4 days, he let me go for 4 days. He goes, you will not have your job. We're gonna give it to somebody else. I said, oh, no, I'm coming back. Don't worry. So I went for 4 days. He went to Siena and Florence and showed me the most beautiful country house. And it was just, came back, and I was like, okay, now what do I do? Now I'm here, and I even like him a little bit more. So it was basically 1 year, and we would meet in in London, and then we'd meet in Miami, and then we'd meet in Dominican Republic, and then finally, again, a God-manufactured coincidence. I was at a show in Phoenix, and one of my clients, I was working in the magazine publishing industry, and he said, look, I'm looking for somebody in London to do my marketing. It was an architectural hospitality. I was in the hospitality business, and he said, do you know anyone? And I said, I do. Me? And he said, wow, okay, I think you could do the job. He said, why don't you fly out, meet with the staff in London? And I did, and I got the job, and I moved to London, and I lived there for 2 years. We went back and forth every weekend. Rome, London for 2 years. I had to bring my cats, which was like almost a deal breaker for the relationship, because I said, you're gonna have to watch them, because I will not quarantine these 2 Siamese cats of mine, and they're in the book as well. So he was like, oh, I don't know anything about managing the cats. I never had a cat. I'm like, well, that's it. If you can't do that, then I'm sorry, I'm not going. So he's like, oh, okay, I will figure out the way to do it. So I didn't want to quarantine for 6 months. So he took the cats in Rome, and he fell in love with these cats. And I would call him, and he goes, oh, now I see. They were called Thelma and Louise. So they were 2 sisters, troublemakers. And Thelma's eating prosciutto now, and you see also Louise is eating the mortadella. She loves mortadella. And I'm like, oh my God, my cats are gonna be like this when I come back. So he took them for 6 months, and then I got them back to London. And I worked for an architectural company. I ended up leaving after 2 years and got a job at a hospitality company in Rome. Again, another chance encounter where I was on an airplane. I was sitting next to somebody, I was looking at a magazine, and he goes, "Oh, I know that company, they're looking for a marketing director in Rome." And I was like, "You're kidding." Called them when I got back, I got that job, moved to Rome, and I've been there since 2002. I moved there actually, again, Phil comes into the story. I had arrived in Rome probably 2 weeks, and Phil and his friend came to visit us. Remember, it was the year, and unfortunately, very sadly, that trip, our brother died. He had a heart attack, massive heart attack. And Phil and I were together, and thank God you were there, because I had just moved to Rome. My oldest brother dropped dead like that of a heart attack, and we were together. So we flew back to Chicago for the funeral, and I had to go back there afterwards, and it was an adjustment. I mean, culturally, I was like, well, I'm Italian, I could fit into Italy. It wasn't that easy. I had to learn the language, and I wanted to speak really well because I needed to work there. So I started taking little lessons, and after a while, Fausto said, "We are not speaking any more English. Parliamo solo in Italiano." And I was like, ah. So it forced me to speak it. And it was the best thing. And I started watching movies with subtitles in Italian. And it was just after probably 6 months, I started speaking pretty well. And now, of course, 20 years later, I would say I'm fluent Italian. I think in Italian, I dream in Italian. So I ended up going there. Moving as an American to Italy is very difficult. I don't think most people, everyone goes, "Oh, you so great, I want to live in Italy." I go, it's tough. It's very bureaucratic, as we all know. Trying to get into a good business, a good job is not easy. So, and you either teach English, you work for the comune, or you start your own business. So I said, I'm going to start my own business. So in a country that I really was not mine, I adopted myself to, and I did. I opened up a business in the meeting and event industry. So I have some fabulous clients. I work with Fendi as one of my clients, the European Parliament. I work with a chemical company, and I organize all their events and meetings. And so that was like, it was tough, but I was able to do it. I also had a rep business. I was in the publishing business. So I worked for Food and Wine magazine in Italy, which was a dream job, until they closed that down. But it was 2 years doing that. And then now I am the president of the Professional Women's Association of Italy. It's an international group of women. It's an amazing association, and it's about helping women get into leadership positions, because even in as much as I love Italy, we are still very behind in women in executive positions. So our mission is empowering women to get into higher positions so financially we can become more independent, which is my mission. I have another 2 years of my term as Professional Women's Association. I have my own agency, which is fantastic, so I do that. And in my spare time, I save spare kitties. That, as you all know, if you've been to Italy, there's a lot of cats on the street. So I have one right now that I'm trying to get. It's back in Rome, and I find homes. I get them fixed, or I get them, if they're sick, I take them to the vet. And I do that as my volunteer job. And then I have my family, which is crazy, which takes up a lot of my time as well. And an Italian husband who's not easy, as we all know. Marrying to an Italian husband is very fun, but there is that, it's a little bit high maintenance, let's just say that. But they're very passionate about food, and I love that, because, he would be eating and they go, "Oh my God, you have to taste this Parmigiana," and you taste it, and it's like, they get excited about food, about wine, and they know how to live. He kept saying, "You American, I cannot believe you don't have any vacation time." So it was an adapting to a different pace. I would go to the post office, and if anyone's been to the post office, you understand my extreme frustration. So I would sit there for an hour. I'd finally get up to the line, and I'd say, "Signore, deve comprare i francobolli," and they're like, "Stamps." "Oh, signora, non abbiamo, è finito." I'm like, "What?" Sono finite, non abbiamo più francobolli. I'm like, you're a post office. You don't have any stamps? I said, why don't you put, get us, like in America, put a little box where you can just put your credit card. We're not, signora, non siamo in America. So this was my adapting to this culture, which was a much slower pace. I'm a person that was, as an American, it's all, we expect things, service to be fast, we expect. So it was a huge learning curve for me to live there. It's, opening a business as a woman, not easy, going through all the red tape, but I did it. I accomplished, I got the most difficult thing was getting an Italian driver's license, which I'm proud to say I have, and I passed the test the first time, which was like a miracle because my husband came with me, and everyone's comes out and it's bocciata, failed, and I was like, does anyone have an Italian driver's license here? Has anyone ever taken the test? Okay, there is 40. Okay, there are 45. Okay, it's only in Italian, right? It's mission impossible. It is one of the most, it was harder than learning Italian. It was easier learning Italian. So I get there, 45 questions, and it's not like an American driver's license.
Is it multiple choice?
No, they're all different. You have to learn everything. You have to learn CPR. You have to, there are questions like, you're at an intersection, and they give you all these and of course it's already difficult because it's all in Italian. They won't give it in any other language. You can only get 4 questions wrong. And that's just the beginning. Then you have to do the driving test. And you have to take driving lessons. So you have to go on an autostrada, you have to go on a local rural road, and then you have to be on a city center road to get your license. So I'm like stressing, I'm never gonna pass this test. And I went in, I got 3 wrong, but I passed. So I was just like, this was a huge accomplishment for me to get my Italian driver's license. So it's just been a lot of hurdles. But I would say I would never, ever change it. I love living in Italy. It is an amazing lifestyle. We have a boat. We go to Elba, the island of Elba, for a month every year. Husband's a big fisherman. We go skiing up in the Alps. Settimana Bianca every year. The lifestyle I have there, I could never replace here. I couldn't have that life. And I know that, and it's the cost of a bottle of wine at a restaurant and a plate of pasta, you can't beat it. You come here and you go, how much for Morellino Scansa? It's just the way they eat, the food, I think the calmness and the way they understand how to live life. They really taught me that. I learned that, and because I was not patient, I was, I had to change my mentality. And it's now, to come back and live in America, it would be very hard for me to re-enter and adapt. And I don't think I would want to.
What area of Rome do you live?
I live in Rome.
What area?
Oh, in the area of Eur.
Modern area. Yeah.
It's a modern area. It's Mussolini's, bravissimo.
That wonderful fascist.
Fascist architecture,
That the
bravo.
square Colosseum, ugly architecture.
Yes, that's the Palazzo di Civiltà.
A lot of upside down stuff in there.
It looks like
being hung from.
Yeah, no, that was Milan. That's where he got actually hung.
Museum of Anthropology.
But this was Mussolini's headquarters. So if you see the Eur, there's the Polombino, there's the little bar, and all these beautiful, and they're fascist architecture. They now do tours in Rome, in my neighborhood, for fascist architecture.
I used to bring my students.
And they're huge. You walk into these buildings and it was enormous. Mussolini built his empire there. So that's where I live. But I'm very close to Ostia, the beach. I'm kind of central. So Eur is here. You have the city center, 15 minutes. You have the Fiumicino airport, 15 minutes. And you have the beach, which people go, Rome has a beach, but we have a really nice beach. So we have the beach there, and then we have a summer home in Umbria. We bought 3 years ago. It's a country place. We renovated it. It's near Orvieto. Does anybody know where Orvieto is?
Yes.
Okay. And you know where Todi is?
Yes.
I do.
Okay. Yeah. So you have Todi here, Orvieto. We're right in the middle. We're way up high. not far from Assisi, Perugia. So Umbria has become like the new Tuscany, and it's not as expensive. It's all green. They, their advertising campaign is Umbria Green, so Umbria Verde. So it's very green. There's a lot of Orvieto makes all of the white wine, Orvieto Classico, and which is fantastic wine. We live really close to most of the wineries. So it's great. We have great walking. We're in the Sentieri, which is all these. We're in a national park, and so we have walkers every morning that walk by our window, and they're part of. It's called the Camino del Borgo Silenti. We live in a small little borgo that's very quiet. Maybe has 60 people. Wow. I know everybody. I walk out of my house. Ciao, Caterina, buongiorno. I know everyone. I ride my bike, I go get my groceries, I come back. It's the lifestyle. When I retire, I can't wait to live there because it's paradise. And everyone goes, oh, but you're from Chicago, don't you miss like that? The city life. And I go, no, I don't miss it. And then and right underneath our house is the Lago. I don't know if you know Civitella del Lago. No, it's not far. Trasimeno's on the other side north, but it's the lago goes into the Tevere. So where our house is, they found Etruscan ceramics all around it. So we have a museum, outdoor museum of the ceramics, because they would make the ceramics, then they would put them in the boat, and then it would be shipped down to Rome, and then they would put the wines in them. So it's a very big Etruscan area where I live. It's a little town called Scoppietto near Civitella del Lago. So if anyone's ever there, I'm usually there on the weekends, and usually almost all the summer I'm there. So my life is very different than my life in Chicago, which I of course love, and I love coming back. Our niece got married on Sunday, which is why I'm here. So it was just, again, God-manufactured coincidence that my girlfriends, Margaret and Rosemary, said, oh, you have to go to Casa Italia. I go, what is Casa Italia? I've never heard of Casa Italia, but I think it's an amazing, wonderful thing that you guys are doing. I wish that I knew about this when I lived here, but I think it's great, and I hope it stays here for a long time, because I think it's a great way to revitalize the Italian culture, the roots of connecting American and Italian, because like our family, we had a lot of Italians in our neighborhood, and most of them were first generation from Italy. They came here, like our family, there was no work in Italy, and everybody came to the United States, a lot in Chicago, Italians, that started their lives here because there was just no work over in Italy. So, but anyway, we have we have a woman prime minister, so we're making progress on that side. She's a woman, so it's that's at least some good sign for Italy. I think Italy as a country, our challenge is that it's an older, they call it un paese di vecchi, a lot of older people, because we have the lowest birth rate in all of Europe. That is a big challenge. So the Italians say, oh, they're having these big families, 11 children. It doesn't exist anymore. Cost of living is very expensive. The salaries are not very high, but there's this balance of quality of life and your pay, your cost. The cost of living is not like it is here. So it's anyway, it was a wonderful choice. It was a difficult choice leaving my family, my friends, but I really felt at the end, after I've been there now. I've been gone 25 years. It went like that. It's been an amazing adventure, and I would never have changed it. So, but I'm glad to be here. I'm so happy that you guys have invited me to come. My book is on Amazon, so if anyone, I don't know, I think it's around here somewhere. If anyone wants to buy a copy, it's also on Kindle. And it's not just about how I met my husband, it's about our family. It's a story really of love for my mother, who the book is dedicated to my mother, not my husband. it's about her struggle as well, our childhood, how we grew up, being Italians, living in America, and the cultural experience of moving to Italy as an American, dealing with a little bit of the intricacies of Italian culture and the Italians, which is not always easy sometimes. They're wonderfully warm people, but there's also things that you have to adapt to living over there. And so a lot of it is funny, you know, how I learned Italian, all the mistakes I made when I was learning Italian, and there were many, and everyone just laughed, you know. They would be, you know, when I was with his family who did not speak a word of English, so the first couple times was, you know, or like, you know, that, and then after a while I started learning Italian, and I would make a lot of mistakes. So but it's funny, you know, they were funny mistakes, and I'm sure most of you speak Italian here, majority of you. Yeah. So as you know, and then going there, and the people go, what did she just say? It was like, I didn't say, you know, I went in to buy a loaf of bread, and it was, you know, do you want a pagnotta or a you know, the filone? I was like, I said, io vorrei la mignotta. And everyone was like,
Oh, God.
you just said you want a prostitute. I was like, oh, sorry. And my husband was just like, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that. Because instead of a pignotta, I said mignotta. I mean, it was like, okay, so, and they just were like, you know, laughing all the time. So there are, that was kind of a funny thing. I still make mistakes. I'm not perfect. But, you know, I would say I could pass pretty well, but I still, doing the la, the il, the lo, I make those article mistakes.
Italian class.
And we were in an Italian class together. And if anyone ever told me that one day I would be living in Italy, I'd be like, you're completely crazy. I will, you know. And we met in, well, how old were we? Like maybe 22 in an Italian class together, the three of us. And I just would never thought in a million years I'd be living there. But I do miss my family a lot, and our mother just passed away. She was 99. She would have been 100 on September 21st. And she, up to the day she died, you know, I talked to her every night. Fausto talked to her every night, and she was an amazing woman, really amazing woman. And the book is really a lot about her. Oh, question, Dominic.
Can you tell us anything about, do you have any family on your side in Italy? And what about your relationship with your in-laws?
Oh, yeah, those are good questions, Dominic. Yes, we do have family. My father lost contact with all of our family in Italy. All I knew is the Tondelli side was in an area near Parma, okay, so it was in a little town called Nismozza, Nismozza, near Reggio. Do?
Busseto.
Yeah, well, exactly.
No, close.
Very close. So I knew that, and so when I moved there, I said, I am determined to find my family. I want to find out who they are. I want to meet, because my dad said, well, I don't know. I think, you know, that's town, but I don't have any phone numbers. I mean, you know, this is a time when there was no. So I went through. I went, got the basically phone book, and I started phoning one after another. It was like Tondelli. I'd be like, sì, buongiorno, io sono le figlie di Rino Dominic Tondelli. Dico, no, non conosco Rino. Shit. And but I must have called 25 people. Finally, the 26th person, I was like, forget it. And she goes, sì, conosco bene Rino. I was like, what? She goes, certo, c'è anche la mamma, Giuseppina. I was like, that's our grandmother. So I was like, oh my God, I hit gold. It was like, yes, you know, because that's a lot of Americans want to find their roots when it's not always, there's now companies, I think, that do this.
Is that Noah?
But they were in Nismozza. Phil's been there. So I remember seeing pictures of my father when he was 14 with my grandfather, who I never met, in this little village. And when we finally got there and I met with them, and they said, come and visit us. So I met them for the first time, and I see this house that I'd seen in this picture when he was young, and I was like, oh my God, it's the same house. And we ended up reconnecting with that whole family, and it was my being very persistent and finding them. And I think our other brother, two brothers have met, Jim and Johnny. And we talk to them all the time. So it's and then the other family, which is in Ivrea, is I also found them. I was able to get their phone number, call them. I've met with them. They invited me to their house. So it was like kind of being reconnected to your roots, your radice, you know. And then my in-laws, and everyone said, oh, you know, I don't know if your in-laws are going to take, you know, you're American. So the first, they were very, you know, it was the first time my husband ever brought a woman home. Because, you know, you don't do that in Italy unless it's really serious. Like, so when they were all like, you know, when I came in, everyone was like, you know, the suit coats, and it was like a formal presentation. The Chardonnay, yeah, the suit, the ties, you know. And then I invited them over to our house for the first night dinner, which I didn't know, and it's funny, a story. They all had gone out to eat before they came to the house, because they said, ma lei è americana, che mangiamo? Hamburger, hot dog, pasta, fa schifo. They were expecting to eat really bad food, of course. Well, meanwhile, my grandmother, I learned how to make raviolis and gnocchi. I know how, and I would say, pretty good cook. So they came over, and I had lasagna, I had parmigiana, you know, melanzane, I had amazing vitello, rosto, and, you know, I had like the whole dinner, like the primo, secondo, you know, and they were like, they came and nobody was eating. I go, what's the matter? My kid, what's happening? Que succede? They're like, oh, well, no, we're not hungry. I'm like, what? I had spent the whole day making this dinner, but because they were like, there is no way she's gonna, so it was sad, but on the other hand, we all laughed about it because it was better than probably they could make, you know. So, but anyway, so but my in-laws were great. My father-in-law, Andrea, he's no longer, and come si dice, suocera, they both are passed, but she, it took me a while, but I had two other sister-in-laws who were Italian, and I was always next to him. He's like, Caterina, you devi sedere qui. So I would sit right next to him, and he just, my husband called him the octopus, because he was always holding on to me. You're gonna sit next to me. So I became the favorite, which was, the sister-in-laws, you know, in the beginning didn't particularly like it, but he was great. You remember our wedding? We got married in, so my husband's grandfather is a very famous artist in Rome. He painted for the churches in Rome. He worked for the Vatican for 30 years. We have the brick from the Holy Door in our house, that's dedicated to his grandfather. So the night before we got married, we had the benediction in Santa Maria sopra Minerva. I don't know if you've ever been there in Rome, but it's got the obelisk with the elephant in front. And Santa Caterina di Siena is buried, her casket is right in front of the altar. So we had our benediction with the priest in the chapel of his grandfather, and then we had the reception up at the rooftop of the Minerva, the Hotel Minerva, and then we got married in Vittorchiano, which is near Viterbo, which I'm sure you might know where Viterbo is, where the thermal baths and everything. Okay, so we got married in. We took over my whole family took over this convent that was for the cloistered nuns. And they were, you know, they couldn't go outside. So it was called,
the doors are only this high.
and the doors are like, yeah, so and of course my brothers are like this trying to get it. And it was called Locanda di Sant'Agnese. So we took over the whole town was my family. We basically took it over for 3 days. And we got married in the church in front, and then we had the reception in this convent, and we stayed at this beautiful convent. So it was like an idyllic, really beautiful wedding. And then, you know, then we went to Spoleto, and we did a tour after Montefalco, and it's been quite an adventure. But I really think, you know, from April 25th of 1999 till now, it's been an amazing adventure. And yeah. So,
give us the details about how you came to publish the book and the reception of the book and CNN.
Okay, well, when and everyone I talked to, when I would tell them my story, they go, "You have to write a book." And I go, "Yeah, but I was working. You know, it's hard to write a book." And I said, "Well, so what I would do is like on ski trips, I would sit on my computer and I would do a couple pages and it took me probably 5 years to write them because you do it and then you put it aside." And my mother saved every single email that I ever wrote to her and my husband's. And so when I was ready to write the book, she gave me a box. I have them still, of every single email that was ever, she saved every one of them. So it was like an archive.
She can do that for me.
Sorry, Phil. I know it's tough. So it took me a while, and then I had a couple local authors in Rome that said, "We will help you get it published." And I did a whole tour in Rome with different culture, like this kind of cultural societies. I did it with 5 different associations to launch the book. We had a lot of publicity on the book, and then just now we had CNN who were able to interview us and have it on their podcast. I also have written a script, so it's being looked at right now by my friend who lives in Palm Springs, who's a director and producer. So he bought the rights to the book. So eventually it could be a movie, which would be really fun for all of you to go, "Oh, I remember her at Casa Italia." So the script it's a great, because there's a lot more to I'm not going to go into all the details, but there's a lot of funny stuff in the script. And they're pitching it to Hallmark as a movie.
Oh, that's perfect.
So that's where we are for that. So,
Okay.
any other questions?
There's undoubtedly a newsstand in the piazza near the fountain. Is your book on the shelf there?
That should be. I agree, Dominic. I'm gonna have to go talk to those people. You're right. I'm in 5 bookstores in Rome. My book is. So it's in the Anglo-American bookstore. If you know Rome at all, there's another one in Trastevere that my book is in, that you can buy it there. It's obviously
Is it in only English now, or?
it's only in English. I know, and I keep getting people, Italians. I have so many friends that don't speak English that said, "Please, when are you going to do it in Italian?" And I that's my next project. I haven't gotten there yet, but I will do it in Italian. And I heard you guys might be doing a tour in Italy of maybe some of the authors, right? Could be a possibility.
We're working on Anna's working on the Italian version of our book. And we want to publish it on Amazon and then do the book tour and all book tours in Italy to promote
She can help
it.
me with my translation. There you go.
We can introduce you to our translator, but
Oh, that's
We have translators.
so that would be interesting. I mean, I would be happy to meet you all in Rome. If you are planning a trip to Rome, because I'm in the travel business, I organize trips for many groups. I'd be happy to help you organize your travel, your hotels, your tour guides, everything. I do all that. So
we're low end though.
yeah, I know. Some of my clients are low end,
Fork it over, Don.
but that's okay. As long as it's not like hostels, I can handle it. If you're that low end, I would say don't call me. But I am happy to help you with,
We might get close to that point.
But I am a very good negotiator. That's what I do. Most of my job is negotiation. In my business, I negotiate all the contracts, the cancellations, the payment, the rates. So,
Very
and I
good-
know, right?
Very good negotiator. I've seen her talk to her husband many times.
And that's not easy, negotiating with an Italian. But I've learned to use my hands a lot, and I think when we get into these kind of agreement, like I go, we're going into a situation where it's difficult. I speak in Italian, so he understands every single word. But he speaks very good English. He just has a very, very strong accent, but he speaks very good. So no, if I can be of any help to anyone, I mean, even if you're just going with your husband, your wife, friend, I have, I know all the owners, most of the owners of the hotels, the managers of the hotels, so I can get a very low, I can get better rates than you can get on a, you know, going on Booking or any group travel. And I have, most of my friends are tour guides because they're, you know, English tour guides. So Jan, you know, my friend Olga, anyway, they're, so once you're there, I do, you know, I can do 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, 100 people. So organize like treasure hunts. I just did a treasure hunt of Rome for a group that came over. Very fun. We had so much fun together. I did a pizza making class with a friend of mine who's a chef in Trastevere. It's one of the most beautiful locations in Rome, and he's got one right on the Tiber river overlooking. So the venue is spectacular. So anything, you know, that you feel, I will leave some of my cards here that you guys can get in touch with me.
So, my name's Carla. I'm a recently retired professor, and I'm just launching with my girlfriend. We both got our PhDs in Italian, of like a heritage tour business, and we're doing a pilot tour at the end of October. And you know, I'd like to talk to you more about the types of things we're trying to do. I have a contact with Colette Tours, who's trying to, you know, see if I could fit in with their like niche travel that they're doing there. But I mean,
Carla, where is it? Is it all over Italy, or are you just doing it?
We have two different specialty areas. Mine's more with like the connection with immigration, Risorgimento history, and she is a specialist on World War II. And so we're looking into like these specialized niche tours. So the one we're doing in October, we've got just a few groups, a few friends coming with us. They're like our guinea pigs. We're just kind of trying out a thing, but we're going like, I just would love to talk to you.
I just did an archaeological tour 2 weeks ago for a group that came over because they were more into the ruins, the archaeological part of Rome, which places that aren't on the normal, you know.
That would be kind of what
you go on via tour and see these are the tours. So I do a lot of off, you know, the website, more personalized stuff.
That's where we're going.
You know, I take them to places that you would never find anywhere because, you know, believe it or not, you can eat bad in Rome. I mean, unfortunately.
Both of us have been doing it for students for years, and so now it's sort of like, well, we'd like to do it for, you know, a different audience. So.
Okay, I work with the study abroad group. I do they do their 3-month itinerary every year in Italy. So they start in Rome, and it's probably, this year was 45 students, and we did, like we took them to the gelato, you know, museum, you know, it was something different than you would normally get near Torino. We took them to like the back end of like Loro Piano, which was like the, you know, the LVMH line, where we showed them how they get their cashmere and how, you know, so we tried to bring in, we went to Bulgari, we did a special tour behind the scenes of Bulgari, all the jewelry. Things, you know, we did a trip to Ferrari. So I try to make it interesting because there's men and women, but I like doing more personalized stuff because I think it's more interesting.
I'd love to just stay in touch with you. I'd like to show you our itinerary because we're looking basically right now at Campania and Lazio because I'm originally from Rhode Island and there's 2 huge populations that descend from those 2 regions. So
where are you from originally?
Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh, Providence. I was thinking, okay, so why Campania and Lazio?
Because there are a lot of people from those regions that live in Rhode Island, and my girlfriend still lives in Rhode Island. So
When we were at Providence, you used to have make his own pasta sauce.
Yes, Buddy Cianci.
So you guys united or something.
Who's a friend of my dad's, Who's a friend of my father's, so,
I met him.
You did?
He's a man of conviction.
In more ways
than one.
In more ways than one.
But I mean, we're looking for, you know, some specialized tour guides that speak good English and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend that does, who also does, like, she's in Tuscany, but she does more the cooking courses, but she does it within, not just to go and make, you know, gnocchi and cavatelli, but then she takes you all over. And it's more of like a cultural kind of experience than just making pasta. So things like that, like she took my group to a place where they made their fresh cheeses. So it was a little farm, and the family we got to sample 5 different types of cheeses, and you go to see where they, the goats and the sheep, right there. And so it's something that and you look over this beautiful, incredible landscape, and you're eating, 5 different cheeses with pairings of wines, and so it's something that's not on any tourist trail, you don't
like I
find
said, we
those.
had a lot of experience doing that with students, and sometimes they weren't always as appreciative. So my late husband was always like, you should do this for a different audience.
Yeah, that's the
We
low
bring them
budget,
to the,
Dominic.
Agriturismo at one time in Sicily, and they went around and they got some of the ingredients off the trees and this and that, and then together we made the meal together and then ate it.
That's
So-
a huge, the agriturismos are now almost becoming luxury.
Yes.
So it used to be where you'd go and you'd stay with a little family and you'd eat like,
Milk their cows.
like they'd say, milk their cows and get the eggs, and then you'd go back and work in the kitchen. Now
Now
they've
they have
become
pools and
like
fancy
5-star luxury
Yeah.
agriturismo, because it's gone to that, these glamping now. Those are becoming big in Italy right now. So the tourism is changing a lot. There's a lot of people that want to come over and not only find their roots, but they also want to do something. They want to, go and pick olives. They want to help make the wine. So these are now new experience. It's really experience travel, not just.
Again, I just love to just stay in touch with you.
Oh, absolutely.
The other thing is I have contacts in the municipidi of some of these towns where there are a lot of descendants. So part of it would be a built-in sort of genealogy workshop where they could find out ways to research more.
That's great.
So,
Any questions, Phil?
You did the little genealogy, didn't you, up there with the, and Nella's side and everything?
Oh yeah, I did everything. I went from, I talked to the priest, all of the people in the town. So I compiled, because we had nothing. My father died. There was no records. There was no. So I put together a whole book so the next generation can see, my grandfather had 10 brothers and sisters. I never knew that. So I know all their names, their kids. I mean,
it's a huge family.
it's huge.
Well, my father was an only child.
And our father was an only
Yeah,
child.
my father was 1 of 10, and my mother was 1 of 8, and my mother was 1 of 10, and they only had 2, so they wised up.
Yeah, they got smart. It's like, yeah.
Smart.
Our book on Italian women in Chicago features an article that I did on a family of 20 in Chicago, and the press that they got over the years, which was uniformly positive.
We had a really nice article that was done in it's in Ivrea, which is in Piemonte, and it's I should have brought it. They did it on our whole family.
Yeah, they're still there.
So
Do they still have Olivetti there? Olivetti?
Olivetti is no longer, unfortunately, but all of our family worked there.
I'm a computer scientist, so I
Oh my God! Okay, yeah. He was like a man before his
Olivetti was the
time.
big guy.
They called it Utopia, the Olivetti, which is where all of our family worked. And in Italy, when the father retires, the son takes the job. And then when they just give that job goes to the next in line. And so most of our family worked there, but he was very, as you know, he was so way ahead of his time. He set up a child care facility within the offices back in 1930.
And industrials will set up a way so that his workers would be well taken.
Yeah, but you can go and visit the actual. I mean, if you wanted to, it's still there.
Still
I mean,
there for
it's,
visits, isn't it? Tours.
they have tours. I mean, this Asti is, that whole area, but it's
They make Cinzano Spumante.
Esatto, Spumante. It's the
They
area of
don't make
Spumante.
typewriters.
They don't make, but they're collector items. So if you can
Yeah.
find an Olivetti typewriter,
Yeah.
they're worth a lot of money right now. The old ones, the ones that you'd had to without the plug,
It's not
Manual.
We have one, my mother's, but it's not Olivetti.
Oh, wow.
So Royal?
Yeah, it's a royal.
So I'm waiting for Margaret and Ro to come over and see me, so we can do this. We can do your, but they're from Sicily. Your family's from Sicily. So, but I've traveled all over Italy because of my business. So
I wanted to ask about your business. So, I mean, that's a bold step for a woman at any point to begin your own business. And how were you able to like parlay like your contacts into starting a business from scratch? I mean, and especially in Italy, which I know to be so much more bureaucratic
It's
than
very
here.
difficult. It's all, passaparola, they say in Italy, and it was all so being an entrepreneur in Italy as a woman is not easy, as you can all imagine.
Yeah.
So, first of all, getting funding, very difficult. Thank God I was able to fund my own business, starting a startup, because I already had a base.
Sure.
But what I did is every day I would call somebody and go, look, this is what I do. Do you know anyone? Do you have a friend at a company that you can introduce me to?
Cool.
And I found my brother gave me this lead. I was in the hospitality industry. I worked in the hotel business for a long time in the US. I worked for a magazine called Hotels Magazine. I worked for Condé Nast. I worked for Hearst Magazines. I was always in the publishing, but more hospitality side. Eventually hospitality, but I worked for Midwest Living Magazine, so Interior Design Magazine. And then I ended up and Phil, my brother, is hospitality. So we would always be at the shows together. Now, Phil was in the food service side of the hospitality. So he would send this, because he knew I was looking for clients, because I started with nothing, zero. And I have $1 million business right now. That's how much I bill a year. I don't make that, but that's what I bill.
I mean,
so I do meetings, 200, 300 people, and it's working for big clients. But he called and he said, hey, this could be a good lead. This is a company in Milan, and it's called the Ali Group. And they had 78 companies underneath them. Gelato company, Carpigiani. Some of the companies you would maybe know, coffee machine, like Lavazza. So I went there and did my presentation, and they loved that I think the one thing that I used as my advantage is that my Italian wasn't perfect. And I wasn't Italian, and I was a woman, and they were just like, wow, she's che coraggio questa donna, and I think that was a huge benefit for me.
You're selling yourself too.
You're selling
the face of your business,
and they're like, wow, she's American. Being American is a huge credibility in Italy. It really is. So I started to go, wow, these are these things that I was thinking was, not a help, but actually, I turned it around, even my Italian perfect, they were like, oh, but we love to hear you speak Italian because your accent, and I'm thinking accent, but when I speak Italian, io ho un piccolo accento americano, so they loved that, and so I realized that I had an advantage. It was I started going, wow, I'm gonna use it. So I went to Ali, I got all of the companies, so I work with big company in America. I just was in Lisbon with them. There were 125 people.
For them, like a convention?
An incentive. So it was an incentive group.
Okay.
So it was a company that sells, well, Phil, you could explain what they sell.
Metro shelving, yeah.
Everything, hospitals, hotels.
Everybody needs shelves.
Everybody needs shelves. Right, I did everything. I did the tours, off-site tours. I did their hotels. I did team building for them, and it was 125 people. But it was from a lead that I went, and they okay, we're gonna try you out. So yeah.
Ali means wings. Do you have anything to do with flying or anything?
Like
Ali means wings.
Wings.
Oh, Ali, no, funny enough.
It's an acronym.
It's an acronym, and it's companies that you all probably would know. I mean, Phil, with some of the other Eloma, Carpigiani, with ice creams.
Belshaw makes little donut machines, that type of thing.
Oh yeah, right. The donut machines. You have Gran Pianti that makes all the washing machines for all the hotels, for all the. So it became like this.
But it's a good acronym because
It does.
it's protective.
It's like wings, like he was saying. Ali, that's why Alitalia became
Angelo Berti was a
Alitalia.
great guy. Great. Berti was the family was fantastic.
Yeah, so it was fun.
You're going to be followed in this room within the next half hour, they tell me, by a group that represents Italia.
Idea.
No.
Italia. And that is Roots Tourism.
Oh, okay.
From Lombardy.
Ah, Lombardia.
Okay, I decided to say.
Domenico, Lombardia. So they are promoting people that are coming over to the Lombardia region to find their roots. Is that what
Yeah,
it
well,
is?
I'm trying to get from you the reputation that Italia has among the cognoscenti in Rome.
Seems like she never heard of them.
I've never heard of them. I have just met with a group that, what is the name of them? It's called like NIFA or something. They're like the Italian American Federation Association.
NIA.
National. They were just in Rome. So I work a lot with the universities. So the American University of Rome, they're one of our partners of my women's association. So I work a lot with the president of the American University of Rome, John Cabot University, which is in Rome.
Loyola or no?
Loyola, I work with them. I work with Stevens. I don't know, St. Stephen's is another American, it's like liceo, so it's like high school. And then I work with Temple University. So they are promoting, they bring over Americans and they all go there. But they were just NIA, right? And they brought that entire group to the American University, and I gave a speech because they're promoting.
Is from
Chicago.
He's a Chicago guy.
Oh, what's it? It's not
Allegrini. Robert Allegrini.
Robert Allegrini. I met Joseph. Oh, what's his name? He's like the second in charge. He came with the group. There was probably 35 of them.
Viola,
And they came to the American University, and I spoke in front of them. Sorry?
They got an audience with the Pope, didn't they? They showed a picture of it.
I think they
probably
did.
did, yeah.
They are very so it's kind of like that where they're trying to promote Italian American culture together, and so they came over. They did a whole tour of Italy, and Rome was the last stop. And then we did this cocktail with them, cocktail
They're
party.
high end. We're the lower end.
They're high end. Oh yeah, when they told me the guy that you're saying, he paid for their entire trip, everything. I was like, how do I become a member of this group? I mean, they went to Milan, they went to Florence, they went to.
He posted pictures all over.
It was.
social
I mean,
media.
I met them. I was like, oh my God, how do I get involved in this? And they're all like lawyers, and I mean, they're very, like you said. They're the 5-star group. You guys are maybe 3-star. I don't know. I'm not sure. But 2-star.
It was like this. Could be one.
Could
but
be
we're
2.
definitely 2.
Okay, well, that's okay. But they told me. I go, well, who paid for all this? And they said the guy who run. I forgot it. It's not that.
It's not him. He didn't pay for it.
No, it's the guy. You'll find him on the website though. I probably have his name. I think I have his name. He paid for their entire, and there was like 35 of them, and they stayed at like the Daniele. They stayed in the Hotel
What are you
Savoy.
saying, that Dominic should pay for us? I agree.
I think that you guys got to get him to sponsor all of you to come over.
We won't put
Pull out his
Come to
communion
Rome.
money.
We're calling from the bullpen. We're bringing Dominic in.
Yeah, I think Dominic, you gotta cough it up. Gotta get
Yeah.
start doing some fundraising.
We'll be staying with the friends of friends of friends.
Ah, okay. Well, that is a very low budget then. But yeah, it was an amazing trip. So I could help you guys do that, like the region of Lombardia, if they want to connect with Italian American groups. So they came to our group because we have a lot of Americans. I'm also I'm on the board of also the American Women's Association of Rome. So I'm an underachiever. But I'm also involved with them, and they came to one of our cocktails and met all of the American women living in Rome.
Can you try a name on yours? A couple of names on
And
there.
then I gotta go to 3.
Joanna Friesa Cole.
I got 5 brains.
Is she in the hotel business?
Well, she used to be a Chicago Italian American leader, and she went to live in Rome many years ago.
I think I know her. I think she was the head of the. I think she was head of our hotel association. If that's the same woman, Johanna, Johanna. She just retired. If that's her.
Well, she should be about to retire. Yeah, remembering her age.
I'm trying to find the guy that I met who, but anyway, this one is amazing. This Nia. I was like, I want to be Daniel DeLayla. That's who it is.
That's who won? I don't know.
He's the one that paid for the whole.
I know.
He's with Equus Capital Partners, and he sponsored the entire trip. And can you imagine paying for the entire trip? So.
Oh, what about Sylvia Poggioli?
Oh, she's
You
from
run
the-
into Sylvia Poggioli?
Is she American? Sylvia?
Oh, you don't know who Sylvia Poggioli is?
No, I don't know her. I know a lot of Sylvias.
She's the NPR reporter from Rome.
Oh, I was with last night with Mary Lee, my girlfriend who works at NPR Radio. She's here in Chicago. I was just at their office last night. I was at their.
Well,
I wonder if she must know her.
well, Sylvia
I met Bill
Poggioli has
Curtis.
been reporting from Rome for 1,000 years.
Yeah, but here's this guy, Joseph. Do you know Joseph Gulino?
Rolino?
Gulino.
Rolino, no.
No.
Okay.
Anyway, well,
We're in a different circle.
I really appreciate all of your time. Is there any other questions before we go? Are we having Prosecco or something after?
Well,
I know it's low budget, but maybe, low a low budget. Do we at least have some crackers and maybe some Parmigiano or what?
I think you've got some wine in the refrigerator. Thank you very much.
We gotta get a picture with Dominic.
Oh,
Oh, we need the
well,
picture.
well,
Yeah. Can you get a picture? I'll take it. My press agent's over here.
okay.
I brought my press office.
All right, Ken. Turn around. Oh, sorry. And then I'll take one after. All right. And then she's thank you.
Dominic. Hey, you guys wanna come?
No, first, hold on.
Alright, Filippo. Dom and I. No, this is fine. I think maybe you think that it's okay?
Yeah, she can do it. She's got a camera that works.
Take it the other way around.
Can you get one of, both of us? Maybe you get the twins with Dominic?
Yes.
Come on, Dominic, we gotta get all the girls around here.
Okay.
All right.
You know, but we don't go in the 2-star hotels. We're like higher level, okay?
Oh, okay, well, I never was in a 3-star hotel.
One, 2, 3.
I've seen pictures of the Danielle, how beautiful it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Dominic. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I've got a bunch of business cards, so. And I am a woman certified company, so that's one of my sisters. Ma tu sei italiano, capisci fare benissimo l'italiano.
Yeah. Well, Rick's church